Hi, I'm Kathy Cook. Welcome to Desi Yogi. In today's class, we'll be focusing on balancing postures in different classifications of poses. You will learn and experience what it takes to focus, to stabilize, and what those actions are that will be required, not only for the body, but for the mind. So let's get started. Start in Adho Mukha Vrikshasana. Be on your heels, extend the hips, extend the toes, the fronts of the ankles, be on the fingertips, and lengthen forward. So be on the fingertips, lift the arms, draw the hips back as you extend the toes and the thighs, and the hip sockets back. Elbows are straight, drawing towards one another. Keep the forearms lifted and bring the hands onto the floor. Press into the hands, into the index finger and the thumb especially, and lengthen through that inner arm all the way up into the shoulder. Release your head down. Take a few breaths there. Thighs descending, shins descending. Front of the ankle pressing down. Draw your outer hips back. As you descend the thighs down more, and lengthen through the side trunk. Start to walk your hands forward a little bit, opening through the outer armpit chest. Extend right through the fingertips. Moving the shoulders back, shoulder blades down toward the hips. And then just be observant of the front body. So from the pubic bone, lengthen to the navel, navel to the chest. So the front body is lengthening. From the tops of the shoulders, descending down toward the hips. And then coming into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Come onto the knees. Just adjust your hands. Make sure your hands are parallel to one another. Turn the toes under. Come onto the toes first. So lift the hips high. Keep that pressure on the index finger and the thumb, reaching up through the upper arms. Bring the head between the arms. As you press into the toes, lift the kneecaps. Deepen the front groin. So create that height from the hands all the way through the side trunk. From the outer armpit chest up through the outer sides of the trunk. Taking a few breaths there. Keeping the kneecaps lifted. Move the thighs back and move the outer hips back. As you do that, roll over the mounds of the toes and descend the heels down. So keep that length through the side trunk. Keep the head between the arms right now. Taking a few breaths there. As you breathe, feeling that connection with the floor, the hands and the feet. Pressing the heels down. Move the thighs back. Keep the inner arm of the upper arm lifting up toward the ceiling, the outer arm descending down toward the floor. And then walk forward to Uttanasana, keeping the hands where they are. Walk your feet forward. So have the feet hips width apart. Take the hands out to the side. Be on the fingertips. And just adjust your weight on your feet so that you can feel the weight in the toes, lengthen the toes, press back into the heels, but lift up through the arches. So you feel you're on the feet, on the four corners of the feet. Press down into that horseshoe of the heel, that outer line of the heel. Move the thighs back. Take your hands broad and release your head. So shift your weight so that you can feel the weight coming over the toes as you counter that action with the thighs moving back. So the hips are moving back or forward and the thighs are moving back. Release your head. And then come back to the feet and just observe where the weight is on your feet. Lift up through the back thighs and just allow the back to release down. Allow the head to release down. And then walking your hands out, bring your hands onto your hips. Inhale, come up. Okay, so now we'll go from just a little bit of warming up there to come to a balancing pose. So we'll stand on the feet, front of the foot, the back of the foot, so that balance becomes important now. So we'll start with the left leg, bending the knee, externally rotating the foot, bring the foot to the inner thigh. Keep your hands on your hips. So connecting with the heel, connecting with the outer thigh. Keep that outer thigh strong as you press and lengthen and open into that leg. Bring your arms out. Release your shoulders down. And then reach the arms up. Soft breath, focusing on a spot in front of you, and then release, and take the foot down. Okay, so important to keep your mind quiet. It's good to start out with balancing poses when you start, just so you can see where your mind is that day. Maybe all over the place. You may need a wall for stability. If you need the wall, then just take the hand to the wall. And you may not need it for long. You may just need it to stabilize your mind, see how you can connect, and then once you're connected, your mind is a bit more quiet, extend the arms up. And bring the hands down. Stand back in Tadasana. Okay, so this next pose, Garudasana, is also a balancing pose. So you'll bend your knees, you'll bend at your hips, you'll bend at the ankles. You'll take the right leg over the left and see if you can catch the calf. So you're squeezing the outer thighs, squeezing the calf. Keep the chest lifted, and then bring your arms out to the side. So first we'll just start with half Garudasana, so just with the thighs and the knees, reach up. And then come down. All right, and doing the other side, bend the knee. So hooking high on the top of the thigh, you can turn the hip, catch that calf, and then turn the hips back. Bring your arms out to the side. Inhale, lift up. Squeezing the thighs. Inhale, come up. Vrikshasana. All right, so just in case you need a little bit more support with Garudasana, I'll show it with the block, okay? So you're going to take your right leg up, bending the knees, bending at the hips, bending at the ankle, and then just take the foot on the block. So you can take that foot there and then adjust yourself. Come down a little bit deeper, squeeze the thighs together, and try and walk the foot back toward the back of the calf. So from there, you're able to balance a little bit better if you're off balance, okay? So now, I just move it to the side. Now we're going to do both the arms and the legs together. So let's start with the arms. Bring the arms up, bend the elbows, keep the upper arm lifted, bring your right over your left. take the hands and keep reaching up with the arms. So we did the right over the left, now we'll do the left over the right with the leg. So lifting up, take the foot back, getting a secure connection with the foot and the calf. Inhale, lift up. Breathe. And then release. Release the arms. Taking the other side. Left over the right. Press the hands against one another. Press the upper arms. Keep the elbows lifted. Keep the upper arms lifted. At the same time, keep the broadness across the upper chest. So coming down. Taking the other side. Getting that connection of the upper thigh, pressing the other upper thighs, calves. Inhale, lift up. And then release. Stand back in Tadasana. So balancing again between the front and the back foot, outer thighs in, tailbone in, collarbones wide. Extend the arms down, from the shoulders down into the fingertips, and lift up through the armpit chest. Okay, so standing in Tadasana, practice Vrikshasana. I have a block here, so I have a little bit extra support. Inhale, lift the arms, jump the feet apart, 4.5, 5 feet. Externally rotate with that same external rotation of Vrikshasana, turning the leg so the knee is over the front of the foot, and then lengthening over that leg. You can just get the block there so that you have it. You can turn it on whichever height you need. And then shift your weight. So as you bend the knee, shift the block, shift the weight on the foot, turning the chest, keep that outer hip in, and then with the back leg, lift up. So reach up through the heel, reach up through the ball of the foot, straighten the standing leg. Pressing down with that bottom hand, turn the chest, and then reach the arm up. Reaching that arm up, create space across the upper chest, broadness to the back, and then come down. You teach Konasana, and come up. Turn the feet. You can shift your block to the other side. Turning the back heel, externally rotating the front leg. Extend out through the arms. Exhale, coming into Utthita Trikonasana with the block just to begin with. Get that imprint of the pose, turning the chest. Reach the arm up. Then take the hand down, bend the knee, shift the weight, come over the front foot, be on the toes. Stay on the fingertips of the hand on the block. Just make sure that the block and the hand is positioned so that there's alignment with the shoulder. Lift the back leg. So as you lift the back leg, keep that outer right hip moving in. Buttocks firm, lift up. Take a few breaths there. Keep the inner back leg lifted. Create space with the top arm, lift up. Turn the back chest, turn the front chest. And then to come down, bring your hand on your hip. Come into Utthita Trikonasana. And inhale, come up. Turn the feet, walk or jump the feet in. Come back to Tadasana. Standing in Tadasana. So bring the inner edges of the feet together. Be balanced on the whole surface of the foot. Press down and lift up through the legs. Keep that compactness, that outer hip moving in. So when we're standing on one leg, that's very important to have that muscular action around the hip. So we can be flexible, but if we're not strong, we have to build strength as well. So here in these balancing standing poses, you can feel that. So, okay, we'll start just from the side here so you have a different view. Bring your arms up into Parvatasana and press your hands up. And lengthen the arms. So getting that extension all the way from the feet up through the hands, extending up through the arms. So in our next pose, Virabhadrasana 3, we want to have this extension through the side trunk, opening up through that outer shoulder. And then switch sides, bring your hands down, change the cross of the fingers, lengthen out. See your elbows moving towards one another, upper arms drawing back towards your shoulders. Inhale, lift up. Again, coming back to the feet, drawing up through the knees, inner thighs lifting, outer hips moving in towards one another. You're getting that pincher action on the outer hip socket, reaching up. And then bring the hands down. Okay, so we'll start with the arms behind our head. And we'll come forward as if we were going into Uttanasana. Okay, so coming forward, slide the left foot back, standing tall on that leg, lift the leg up, reach up through that back heel, and then extend the arms out, looking forward. And then come up. Bring your arms up again. We'll do the other side. So just stand in Tadasana, balance through the feet, get the legs strong, preparing to go forward. Just shift the weight back. You can even bend the front knee to begin with, like we did in Ardha Chandrasana. So you get the trunk to go a little bit lower. And then lift up with the back leg, straighten the front leg, and then reach the arms forward. Extend. And then inhale, come up, come back to Tadasana. So stand back in Tadasana with a quiet breath. From the ground, feeling rooted from the feet, up through the side body, up through the chest, right up through the crown of the head. So feeling tall in Tadasana. Coming into Hastasana, keeping the arms long, come forward into Uttanasana. Bring your fingertips onto the floor. Take your hands wide. Keep the hands wide, keep the chest broad. Ekapada Prasarita Padottanasana. So again, this is a balancing pose, so you're going to bring your left foot up. So you can just see the toes behind you so that you maintain that levelness of the hip. So you're aware if you're starting to turn the foot or the leg, reach up, come halfway, adjust the hips. You can take your hand on your hips just to you can take your hands on your hips to see if the hip is level. Extend out through that back heel. And then bend your front knee. So with the knee bent, move your chest down toward that thigh. So you can feel the chest on the thigh. You can walk your hands back a little bit further. And then release your head down. And then start to lift that leg up, reaching up with the back toes. Release the head down any amount. And then coming out, bring the foot back. Uttanasana. Shifting your weight, lifting up through the backs of the thighs. Keep the hips engaged, outer thighs in towards one another, inner thighs rolling back. Let your abdomen release back towards your lower back. And then coming to the other side, bring your hands forward again, just till you have your balance, and then bring that foot back, just observing that the toes are pointing down toward the floor. Walk your hands back a little bit, and then bend your knee. Lengthen the abdomen along that trunk, or lengthen the trunk along the abdomen, should I say. And then you're going to start to come up. So keep the abdomen and the trunk in contact with one another as long as you can. Releasing the head down, reach the leg up, extend up. Balancing, lifting, be aware of your breath. And then bring the foot down. Come back to Uttanasana. Take the hands back. Inhale, Ardha Hastasana. Coming up. Tadasana. Ardha Hastasana. Coming forward, Uttanasana. I'm going to take the right leg up, or left leg up. You can have both hands down at this point. And then take your right hand onto your hip. Keep the back leg lifted, keep both legs straight, and then start to turn. Lifting back through the heel, reach the arm up. As you reach the arm up, turn the chest. And then bring the hand down, come back down, Uttanasana. Shift the block to the other side. Bring the back leg back. Keep that hip firm, keep that compactness in the outer hip. You can bring the leg up. Hand on the hip, start to turn the chest, turn the back ribs. Keep the back leg lifted, keep that firmness through outer hips, and reach the arm up. Lift and turn. Hand back, bring the leg down, come back to Uttanasana. Take your hands back, exhale, releasing the abdomen, release the head. Inhale, come up, Ardha Hastasana, and Tadasana. Coming back to Tadasana, so standing, balanced. Come back to your breath. Samastiti, so the balance that a tree has, just by being rooted into the ground, being able to lift up to the skies. So for us, using that analogy to keep our balance, distribute our weight, pressing down, but at the same time lifting up. Soft breath. So now we'll practice Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana 1. You take your hands to your hips. Again, get ready to balance. So start with the left leg, right foot. You're balancing on the right. Bring the knee up. So you're wanting to get the lift of this leg coming up high. All right, before we do that, let's back up a little bit, because you'll be holding the toes. So I want to come into Padangusthasana. So you're coming down and take your index finger and your middle finger around your toes. And with that connection there, pull the arms up. So you're moving the upper arm into the shoulder. So that's going to be important for Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana. So you're pressing the feet down, but you're pulling the toe as if you're plucking it from the foot, plucking it from the ground. Make the arms long, right up into the shoulders. All right, and then come back up. So when we go into Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana, so balancing on that foot, raise the leg up. So the knee's got to come up high. And then from the inside, take your second and third fingers, plucking that up, lift up. So the whole trunk is extending up. So if you go down to take that foot and you're starting to round and come down, then you have to use this hand, this arm, to lift up. Lifting the knee, getting that firmness on the outer thigh, and then reach up and extend the leg. So now here, again, we want to draw the leg into the hip socket, but we also want to draw the upper arm back toward the shoulder. So holding that toe, pluck it back to move the shoulder back and lift the leg up. Keep the bottom leg straight, and then reverse, come down to Tadasana. So just reestablishing your weight on your feet, your breath, balance yourself, coming back to Tadasana. So I'll show the other way. So start with your hands on your hips. Bend the knee, lift the leg up high. So the knee is not down here, the knee is lifting up. You can take the other hand, lift it up higher. Slide the hand on the inner knee, pluck the toes. Just be aware of your standing foot, pressing down, lifting up, creating that support around the hip, lift the chest. So as you pull the fingers, pull the arm, move the shoulder back. So still focusing, quiet breath. And then lift the leg up. And again, pulling the toe, drawing the shoulder back, lift the leg. And then coming back, Tadasana. Okay, so now we'll start back on the first side. Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana 2. So the leg will be going out to the side. So I'll just show from this view here. So it would be the same actions. Coming up, holding onto that toe, pulling with the toe, dropping the hip, getting that external rotation that we had in Vrikshasana. Bring the leg out to the side. So standing leg is straight, connected with the foot, lift up through the crown of the head. As you bring that leg over to the side, so this is your left leg, bring the left buttock forward, and then extend the leg out. Again, plucking the toe, draw the shoulder back. Connect with the shoulder blade. Bring your leg back toward the wall, and then again, standing in Tadasana. All right, so standing in Tadasana, just find your breath. Bring some quietness to the breath, your inhalation and your exhalation. Preparing to do the other side. All right, bring both hands on your hips. Bring the weight onto the foot. Bend the knee. Bring the leg up. Take the fingers on the toe. So this is that external rotation we had in Vrikshasana. So tucking that right buttock under. Bring the buttock forward as you bring the leg out to the side. Pull the toe. Draw the shoulder back. Connect with that right shoulder blade. And then coming out, bend the knee, Coming back to Tadasana. Just stabilize yourself. Come back to the breath again. This will be similar to Parivrtta Ardha Chandrasana. So this is Parivrtta action in Utthita, Hasta, Padangusthasana. So you bring the leg up. With the opposite hand, you'll take the toes. With that arm, reach up through the knee. As you reach up through the knee, descend the hip so that femur bone goes down to the hip socket. Back hand on the hip. You can take the hand on your sacrum. And then coming down. So standing in Tadasana. Bring your right hand on your hip. Bend your left leg. Take hold of the toe. Lift up. So as you're lifting the leg, descend the hip at the same time. Pull, pluck that big toe and draw the shoulder back. Keep the bottom leg straight. Extend out. Bring your hand onto your hip. I'm just going to show this at the wall in case you're not having your balance. You can bring the foot to the wall as well. So standing, bring your foot up from the heel, connect back into that hip, and then take hold of the toe. Dropping this hip down. So pulling with the toe, starting to turn the back body, turn the chest, turn the front chest, drop that shoulder, and then turning, turning. Use the breath, turn. And then coming out, bend the knee, step the foot back, come back to Tadasana. Okay? So just standing in Tadasana, recovering your breath, recovering your balance. We'll next practice Adho Mukha Svanasana. So turning on your mat, come down, pressing the hands down, come onto the toes, and just create that length from the hands through the arms, up through the side trunk. And then descend your outer heels down, connect the feet. If you need to use a wall, you can always use a wall. And now you're going to bring your feet together. This is Ekapada in Adho Mukha Svanasana. So one leg will be lifted like we did in Ekapada Prasarita Padottanasana. Now we're doing it in Adho Mukha Svanasana. So extend the legs, press the heels, connect from the hands all the way up through the shoulders, and then bring the leg up. Reach up. You can come onto your toes first so you can get that lift. Extend up, reach up through the ball of the foot. Again, keeping the hips level, draw the outer hip back. So the right hip, left hip is coming back. Right hip is descending down. And then keep lifting up while you extend the heel down toward the floor. Reach up. And then come down. Reestablish the weight on the feet, on the hands, the length through the side trunk. And then again, come up onto the toes, lift up, reach up. Stabilizing the hips so that still the outer hips moving towards one another. The lifted leg hip turning toward the floor. The right leg hip moving back, and then reach up with that leg. Still turning that leg so the outer thigh is turning toward the inner thigh. And then coming down. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Spread your feet. And then coming into the next pose, Vasisthasana. Just walk your feet forward first, come into Uttanasana. Recover your breath. Virabhadrasana. And coming down. So standing in Tadasana, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Jump your feet back. Feet are hips width apart. So you're going to turn your left foot, come onto the outer edge of that foot, balancing on that front arm. Just bring your foot over so that you balance yourself. So I'm on the outer edge of the back foot. I'm standing on the hand. Okay? So from the hand, bring the shoulder blades in, turn the chest, and then take the foot down. Press with the hand, lift the arm, and then take the other arm up. Reach up, turn the chest. Keep the feet broad, stay pressing on the outer edge of that foot. Tailbone in, thighs back. Breathe. And then come down, Adho Mukha Svanasana. So show from the back now. Turn onto the outer edge of the foot. This is the right foot. You can either bring your foot forward like we did before, or just take your foot on the outer edge. Tailbone in. Thighs moving back. Shoulder blade moving in. Turn the chest. And as you press the hand down, lift up through the elbow, lift up through the upper arm. Turn the chest. Look up. So being equal weight on the hands, pressing into the palm, reach up through the fingertips. Coming back, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And coming to the first side again. Come onto the foot. This time, let's come into Vrikshasana. Bring the foot onto the inner thigh. And reach the arm up. Lift the thigh away from the floor. Lengthen the inner knee of the upper leg. Tailbone in. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Other side. Again, you can take the foot in front of you to have balance if you need, or you can have the toes like so. If you're coming to Vrikshasana, bring the foot to the inner thigh. Lift the bottom hip up. Stabilize. Reach up with the arm. Turn the chest. And then coming down, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Bend the knees, jump forward. Uttanasana. Coming into boat pose. So you're balancing now on the hips. Keep the upper arms drawing back. So you bring the shoulder blades in. And reach the arms up. Press through the balls of the feet. Draw the little toe side of the foot down. Lift up through the chest. Dandasana. So just bring yourself right into the center of the mat. We'll come into that from Dandasana, so Navasana again. Pressing your hands down, roll your shoulders back, shoulder blades in, keep the chest lifted. and lift the legs. Hastasana in Dandasana. Take your hands back, sit in Dandasana. So moving in that direction again, that same action of the shoulder blades moving in, chest lifted, thighs descending down. So these, when you bring the legs up in Navasana, you maintain that Dandasana action. And then coming back. Lift your chest. Connect with your shoulders. And then Ardha Hasta. Dandasana. All right, so now we're going to come down on the floor and get a bolster. First, move into Viparita Dandasana, and then we'll go into Sechabandha. So take your bolster to the side. Actually, we'll go into Sechabandha first. So come into the center of your bolster. And have your shoulder blades on the edge of your bolster so that when you press your feet down, you can slide your shoulders down. So the chest is lifting, shoulders are descending, and then reach the legs out. Be on the center of the heels, toes up toward the ceiling. Let the inner thighs roll in and extend the legs. Turning the whole inner arm out, shoulders down, inner arms rolling. Keep the thighs descending. From there, you're going to take your knees, bending your knees, balancing, pressing through both arms, so keeping that balance here. So we are balancing somewhat. You're balancing on the center of the bolster. Your tailbone is descending, your chest is lifting. And then bring the legs up and extend the legs. Reaching up. So as you press into the balls of the feet, curl the little toe side of your foot down toward the floor. Connect the heels, connect the ankle. Move the inner knee back, and the inner thigh rolling back. And then from the heel, feel that weight down through the bones of the legs, down into the pelvis. Keeping the right leg lifted, extend the leg out. Left leg, left heel, extending, press that left heel down, and extend that leg up. So important to keep your weight on your arms, your shoulders lift, your chest lifted, to maintain that. And then reach the leg up again. And then extend. Press strongly down. It almost feels like my knee is bending here because of where the bolster is. So if you feel that you're not able to straighten the leg, then you can have a block. So I'll just show with the block here. So depending on the height of your bolster. So I'll come up and just bring that block there so that when I go down this time. So starting from here. Bringing that leg down. Press and extend the heel. So it's important you extend the heel. So where the bolster was catching the back of my knee, I couldn't really descend down. It's a long bolster, reaching up through the leg, but at the same time descending down through the hip. Bring the leg down. Bend both knees, bring the legs back up. Starting with the first side. Extend down. Extend the heel. Slide the heel. And then bring the leg up. And other side. Establish that contact, extend the heel, reach up with the leg. And then inhale, lift up. Feel the weight on the back of the pelvis as you descend the femur bones into the hips, and feel the weight on the back of the pelvis. Lift the chest. Begin to observe your breath. And then bend the knees, bring both feet together to Baddha Konasana. Just allowing the knees to roll out to the side. Getting that length through the inner groin. We've been doing a lot of forward bending, so now just allowing that openness to come, having that connection in the outer hips that we had when we were doing our standing poses, so still maintaining that awareness in the outer hip joint. Let the knees descend down any amount with gravity. And then bring your knees towards one another. And then you'll roll to your side and press yourself up. Get ready for Savasana. For this Savasana, we'll take the bolster and the block. Right at the head of the femur bone and the lower abdomen. So first extending, rotating the pelvis, extend the legs. Just making sure you're right in the center. And for a little bit extra weight, you can bring another block. You can bring something on the bolster. This block is heavy, so I don't want it to fall on me. So just make sure you get it balanced. So we've been working with balance today. So balancing your props, balancing the body, balancing your awareness. Come into Shavasana, getting that rotation of the shoulders. Turning of the inner thighs out, let the little toe side of the foot come toward the floor. Just letting go, just letting the bones be heavy, allowing that heaviness to descend downward as you allow the exhalation to release you further. So relaxing the toes, the arch, the heel. Your ankles. Let the calves relax completely. The knees. Feeling the heaviness on the hips. Relaxing the front pelvis, relaxing the abdomen as the organic body descends down toward the lower back. Just reconnecting with your breath. Feeling the beating of the heart. Feeling that spread across the front of the chest. Just allowing the body to relax completely. Using the breath to further relax and let go. The head is descending down with gravity so that you're releasing all the muscles of the face, and the jaw, and the mouth, the throat, the neck. Just letting go of that focus, that one-pointedness that you had for your balancing poses. Begin to deepen your breath, feeling that more focus on your awareness, focusing your consciousness toward the breath, toward the body. Start to move the fingers and the toes. Take the block away. Quietly press yourself up and come back into Sukhasana. And sit there with a few breaths, connecting with your breath. Namaste. Thanks for showing up. I hope you learned something. If you have, give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell. If you found this video too challenging, I've put a link below for the beginner series. Check it out. If you have any additional questions or comments, leave them in the section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Take care.